So Chanel just announced, but not really announced, launched a new fragrance called Liliane de Chanel for the Middle East. It's supposed to get its debut the rest of the world early next year. But in the meantime, the only way we can get it is if we go to the Middle East, to the boutiques that are selling this particular fragrance. I wanted to do this video about this fragrance because I'm really excited about it. It's a great sounding fragrance with the notes, and I'm going to tell you all about it. And also I thought, why don't we do a top 5 Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances video, because this is part of the Les Exclusifs. So if you want to find out about Liliane de Chanel and also my top 5 Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today we're talking about Liliane de Chanel from Chanel, brand new release that is an exclusive to the Middle East up until early next year when it gets rolled out to the rest of the world. And also my top 5 Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances, and I'm throwing in one extra one because I always do. But before we talk about those, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed to the channel, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. That's right, Chanel Liliane de Chanel is launched in the Middle East exclusively, and it won't get its debut here elsewhere up until the early part of next year. Now this is what I've read online, and I got my information from various different resources, and this is what I found out. So I'm very excited about this release because I like what they have in the notes, and I've been enjoying some of the latter releases from Chanel, such as 1957, which is in the list, and also Boy, which is on the list as well. So Liliane de Chanel, I think, is inspired by the fact that Coco Chanel is a Leo, born in August, or I'm not sure exactly when she was born, but just the fact that her birth sign is a Leo, and this has something to do with that particular inspiration. But it is an Oriental fragrance, and I can see why it is getting the exclusive treatment in the Middle East before it gets rolled out into the rest of the world. I think they did that recently also with 1957, and they launched it in a New York City boutique exclusive, but I thought it was a shorter time. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll get rolled out earlier, but from what I've read online, it is launching elsewhere outside of the Middle East earlier part of 2021. But why am I excited about this fragrance? You know, I'm always excited about Chanel fragrances. They're always doing some really cool things as of late. I like all the Les Eaux collection fragrances, except for one actually. I'm still kind of struggling with the last one they launched, but the first 3 I really enjoyed. And I also really like 1957, which, as I said, is here on this list, and also love Boy. I actually love both of those. They're great releases. And you know, some of you might not be into Chanel because I hear it from comments, and I think you might be put off by the DNA of Chanel. Sometimes you say it smells a little like grandma or old world or older fragrances, and I could see why, because their DNA seems to be carried over. And that DNA for Chanel, I feel like, is the aldehydes. They have this aldehydic DNA, which not necessarily can be aldehydes, but it just smells like it to me when I smell them from fragrance to fragrance. Some of the fragrances have that DNA more than others. Like recently I did a video on leather fragrances, and I spoke about Cuir de Russie, and that fragrance has that DNA in it big time. Anyway, the notes for Liliane de Chanel are at the top bergamot and lemon, in the heart labdanum, amber in the base, vanilla, patchouli, sandalwood, musk. Sounds great. It seems like very light on the top, and then it gets really deep and rich in the heart and the base, where the amber kicks in. And we've been talking a lot about labdanum, of course, on the channel. Labdanum is what they use to create an amber accord, and they apparently use it in the heart here, but they also added amber as the note. So I guess it's a combination of both of those notes. But the fragrance starts off citrusy, bergamot, lemon. Sounds fabulous. I feel like those could be very short-lived, those 2 notes, because they usually disappear pretty fast. And then labdanum, when it comes into heart, and I feel like it just gets deeper right from the heart and on. So most likely it's not about the citruses. Well, most definitely it's not about the citruses here. And this particular fragrance, typically they go into a heart. When they go into the heart, there's usually like floral notes. There's no floral notes mentioned in this particular fragrance whatsoever. So it's all of in-your-face Oriental, which I'm really excited about, because my #1 fragrance on the top 5 here I'm going to tell you about is an Oriental, and I love this style. I love the Oriental fragrances, but this one seems to be more on the amber side, because Labdanum and amber are both on the amber heavy, Labdanum heavy side. So they could be really, really balsamic, resinous kind of notes in this fragrance. But what happens in the base is that vanilla comes in, and obviously it says vanilla. Patchouli, which I really love. These are all awesome notes. Sandalwood, I really, really love. Musk, I really, really love. So this is an exciting release. I can't wait to get my nose on it because it just sounds fantastic. Once again, it's created by Olivier Polge. Currently, the fragrances in this collection retail for 200 ml bottle, $350 plus tax. So they are on the pricey side, but I'll show you. This is the size right here. This is Sycomore, which is also on my list here. And it's a fairly decent size. It's more pricey than, let's say, for example, Dior's Privé collection, where those are 250 ml bottles for $330. You get more juice for less price. This is 200 mls for $350, so you get less juice and more expensive. So that's the deal with Chanel. I feel like Chanel feels like they are like some very, very exclusive brand. In the end, they are, and so we want their products, and I think recently I read like 2 years ago, not last summer, but probably not this summer, but last summer I read that they made like over $7 billion in profits worldwide in their whole entire company, not necessarily in perfumes, but everything that they sell. So they are making tons of money. And of course now they have Olivier Polge, who is the son of Jacques Polge, who used to make Chanel fragrances, is the main perfumer making fragrances. So they are going to crank them out more frequently, and I like the fact that they're doing it with their Les Exclusifs collection, because I love this collection. And of course the men's collection has kind of fallen flat with the Bleu de Chanel fragrances. I mean, they don't really do much for me, except for the fact that it smells pleasant. It's just a very pleasant, crowd-pleasing kind of fragrance. But these fragrances definitely are more on point and ones that I really enjoy. Anyway, so I'm excited for Chanel Liliane de Chanel. If you guys have smelled it and you're from the Middle East, please do let me know. Although with the fact that the whole pandemic's happening and the shelter in place is going on, I don't know who's gotten their nose on this one yet, but we shall see. But as I said, if you have smelled it, please definitely put your comment down below to let me know that you've sampled it, or if you are anticipating sampling it, also put that down as well. So anyway, moving on to my top 5 Chanel Les Exclusifs fragrances. We're going to start off with my honorable mention, and it is the fragrance I featured in my leather fragrances video. It's Cuir de Russie, this one right here. This is at the very bottom. As you can see, I've got a little bit left, but I really enjoy this one. But I left it here because I enjoy the other ones a lot more. And you know, as mentioned in a previous video, and Saturday I did my top 20 Tom Ford. I'm focusing on a little bit more designers lately because you guys are complaining I do too much niche. Anyway, today's Chanel. Tomorrow's another designer, but then we're going to go into the niche for the rest of the week. But I like this one, but my taste changes all the time. So sometimes this might be at number 1, sometimes it might be at number 10. Today it's at number 6. I'm making it as my honorable mention, and I really enjoy this one because it's got a very buttery, charred, kind of a smoky leather smell, and it's Cuir de Russie. It doesn't go out of style. I'm always like really digging this particular fragrance, and I like the fact that that leather is very smoky and charred smelling, but a smooth leather. It goes on smooth and buttery. You know, it does have that quality to it. And somebody asked recently, buttery, do you mean it smells like butter? I'm talking about texture. It wears like that kind of a texture, like it's texture, creamy, buttery kind of a texture. But what I get with this one also is that Chanel DNA. I get the Chanel DNA in here so prominently that aldehydic DNA is pretty prominent. But what's going on here is leather, birchwood, ylang, resins, jasmine, tobacco, rose, orange blossom, and a bunch more. It is very, very floral kind of a leather fragrance. So you're basically getting a smoky leather with floral notes. Anyway, that's Cuir de Russie, my honorable mention. So what's my number 5? But before we do that, today is Memorial Day here in the States. Hopefully you guys are celebrating and are, you know, going out safely and doing, I don't know, barbecues or whatever you can do. I'm not doing much outside yet. I am, you know, going to the studio back and forth from home, and that's where I pretty much shoot my videos and prepare and plan my videos. But also just kind of hanging out and doing either here or doing stuff at home. So today is Memorial Day, as I said. Happy Memorial Day to those of you that do celebrate. And moving on to my number 5, 1957. This is the one that was the latest launch of the Les Exclusifs collection. And this one debuted in New York. It was an exclusive for a New York store. Then it kind of got its rollout all over. And I bought this from, did I buy this one from... I think I bought this from the boutique here in San Francisco before it made it to Neiman Marcus. I can't remember. But this one is really, really beautiful, and I think it's perfect for summer. And I've grown to love this one a lot more. It's 1957 with lots of musk. There's the aldehydes again. You can smell that Chanel DNA. There's a soapy quality here. There's loads of Orris, so there's powdery elements. There's orange blossom, bergamot, pink pepper, honey, cedar. The honey is really, really prominent. It smells like honey, like when you smell honey out of a jar or a tube or something. But in the end, it's a very, very beautiful citrus floral musk. The musk is pretty prominent. It's a clean musk. That's why I get the soapiness here. So if you like soapy fragrances with that Chanel twisty DNA or twist DNA, then 1957 will probably satisfy you. I really love this one. I really enjoy wearing it. And I think I'm going to put it to use this particular summer. I want to, you know, overspray a little bit and enjoy its qualities of the musk, the aldehydes, and the citrus floral notes of in the citruses as well. Anyway, that's 1957. And my number 4 is Sycomore. It slipped down. You know why it slipped down? It's a great scent, don't get me wrong, and it used to be my number 2 favorite Chanel, but it's kind of slipped down, Chanel Les Exclusive. The reason it slipped down is because it smells like a lot of other vetiver fragrances. Yes, it's Chanel, it's Les Exclusifs, but it slipped down. My taste changed, and I have a few others that I'm preferring over this one. Maybe because I can get vetiver from other brands. I don't really need to go to Chanel Les Exclusifs, but I don't know what it is right now, but that's what my mood was with this one. But if you like the idea of vetiver and you want the idea of Chanel, definitely go check out Chanel's Sycomore, because it's definitely quality. And what I like about this one is the vetiver, the cypress, and once you read those 2 notes, it kind of hints at, you know, what fragrance. Very inexpensive vetiver fragrances. Lalique Encre Noire. Yeah, people do compare this to Lalique Encre Noire. I actually compare it to the a la Extreme version over the original. I just feel like there's more depth with the a la Extreme version compared to the original, but some people say it definitely reminds them of the original as well. So there's vetiver, cypress, juniper, sandalwood, spices, tobacco, pink pepper, and there come the aldehydes. Yes, you do pick up some aldehydic touches, but it's not so obvious here as it is in Cuir de Russie and also 1957. I feel like out of the 3 I've spoken about so far, not the one that hasn't launched yet, but the 3 in my list, the one that has the most aldehydic touch, like it really hits me in your face, it hits me in the face with that Chanel DNA, is Cuir de Russie. But then again, I also do witness it or experience it in 1957, and here it's here as well. But as I said, it's not as prominent because here was a very, very woody fragrance, and I feel like out of all the ones I'm talking about today, this is the most masculine out of all of them, including the next one, which is got a very masculine style of fragrance. Anyway, Sycomore, I love it. Still, it's not at number 1 or 2 or 3, it's at number 4. So at number 3 is one I've spoken about a lot recently as well, and this is Boy. Now this one is an aromatic fougere fragrance. It's a fragrance is nicely blended with a fusion of lavender and geranium, and I feel like sometimes when I put my nose to it, the geranium is actually a lot stronger than the lavender, which, you know, sometimes my nose picks up different things. But along the way, you also have some musk here, and there is heliotrope note. The heliotrope adds a powdery element. I feel like Chanel fragrances do have a lot of powdery qualities to them. A lot of them do, and which is fine. If you don't like powdery, you might not like it, but Chanel fragrances do. This is a very quality release. It is a unisex fragrance, and it's an aromatic fougere, so I guess typically aromatic fougères are more masculine leaning. This one has that kind of like unisex leaning quality to it. And it does have that Chanel DNA as well, but I don't see aldehydes listed as a note. But it doesn't necessarily mean Aldehydes is the trademark for Chanel, is Chanel's DNA, but I feel like it really is. It's not, I'm not 100% sure. But in the end, this is wonderful. This is a really, really great release. It's great fougere that's shared. You can share it with, like if you buy it as a man, you can share it with your wife if they like, you know, a girlfriend, if they like this kind of a smell. Because in the end, it doesn't scream ultra masculine. And it is masculine, and if that makes sense to you guys. Sycomore to me smells the most masculine out of all the ones that I'm talking about. But this is a masculine scent, just kind of leans more unisex than extremely masculine. But a wonderful release. This is Boy from Chanel, and I love this one. That's why it's at number 3. Now at number 2, this is a one that has just become an addiction for me as far as the smell. It's not my number 1 favorite that I've had for a while, but it's number 18, and I'm obsessed with the way it smells. This smells fantastic, really, really fantastic. Very medicinal, very woody, very musky, and slightly fruity undertones, and also boozy undertones. So number 18 is known for ambrette, and I recently featured it in an ambrette video, I believe. I think I did. Dior has that fragrance Santal Noir, I think it's called. I'm drawing a blank with the name. It has ambrette in the notes, and it kind of started reminding me of this, but this also reminds me of Chanel's other fragrance called Egoiste, because it also uses ambrette, but it also uses it with the, what do you call it, sandalwood. So the fragrances are kind of all related. This one actually also has a little bit of that Chanel DNA in there, not so strong like the Cuir de Russie, but in the end you're mostly experiencing this ambrette note with the fruity notes, because ambrette in general has fruity nuances and boozy nuances. So when you're smelling that, that's what you get with the note. But here they've added the iris and the cedar and some floral touches, and I feel like there's sandalwood in here as well, because I definitely pick it up. When you put your nose to it, and you know Egoiste, it'll remind you of Egoiste. It really will. But Egoiste to me nowadays doesn't smell as deep and, you know, dense as this one does. This one does lean a bit more feminine than Egoiste, but try it out. See what you think. If you like a stronger version of Egoiste, go with number 18. Again, it's more feminine than Egoiste, but it's all unisex to me anyway, and I really, really love this. I like the idea of medicinal fragrances, musky fragrances, slightly fruity, boozy fragrances, and this one doesn't disappoint at all. This is number 18 at number 2. And if you've been following me and you've been watching this video and I said my number 1 favorite is an Oriental, you've got to know what it is. This is Coromandel at number 1. And Coromandel, you know, patch hose, love this one. I love it, and just love wearing this particular fragrance, and I love it because the patchouli is really, really prominent. It really, really stands out, and it drives this fragrance. But you know what? The earthiness of the patchouli is there, and you know, the earthiness does a little bit remind me of fragrances like Psychedelic or Reminiscence patchouli. But here, the white chocolate adds this creamy layer to it. Now, for me, Reminiscence patchouli, Jovoy Psychedelic are so boozy chocolatey, but it's dark chocolate. Here, they've taken out the dark chocolate and added white chocolate instead. That's why you get this more slightly creamy milkiness rather than like dark chocolate or even milk chocolate, because white chocolate in the end mostly is buttery, milky to me rather than tasting like real chocolate, and you do experience that here. So there's also benzoin, there's incense, there's olibanum, amber, woody notes, bitter orange. It's absolutely delicious. It still is my number 1. It smells great. I love wearing it. I love it when I spray it and then it just projects off of me, and you know, the patchouli makes me happy, the white chocolate makes me happy, the entire experience just makes me happy and satisfies me and when I'm wearing it. Anyway, Coromandel is my number 1. So one more thing, since I did speak about Sycomore and it's a Vetiver fragrance, I don't know if you guys have checked out my Forever Vetiver t-shirts yet, but this is what the t-shirt looks like. If you want to pick up one, I am selling them currently at Teespring, and you could see a link below and take advantage of this. I am working on more notes ideas to do t-shirts of, and we're going to do more notes, but the very first t-shirt, as I said, is Forever Vetiver, for the Vetiver lover, and these are going to be great to wear this summer, because I've been wearing a few here and there. I have a few that I bought, and I really enjoy them. They're very soft and you know, cushy t-shirts, and they don't like they're not rough, like they don't they're not the hard kind of tough t-shirt material or cotton, but very, very soft and you know, nice the way they fit. Anyway, that is the Forever Vetiver t-shirt. I know a lot of you guys have been mentioning that you've been picking up one, and some of you have shown interest, and if you have been interested, I do have a link in the info box. Anyway, that's my video for today. Happy Memorial Day. It is Memorial Day today here in USA. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. I do want to mention a couple of other things before I wrap up. I am working on a top 5 blind buys gone bad video, and I actually bought a lot of fragrances during the pandemic, and several of them, actually 5 of them from designers, went really bad. These were new releases, newish releases, and a lot of times you guys get really pissed off when I you know rag on fragrances, but you know what, I've been doing so much niche, and when I go back to designers, they're not really satisfying me too much. I'm always going back to the niche side, and what really is niche anymore anyway, because the niche fragrances are pretty much owned by bigger conglomerates unless they're smaller brands. But anyway, to the point of doing a video on my 5 fragrances that were really bad blind buys. If you're curious and want to see it, let me know. If you want me to do that video, I will do it. But I know some of you get really pissed off and really complain at the fact that I don't like some of the fragrances. But you know what? In the end, I've smelled so much, it doesn't really satisfy me. The designers just are not cutting it. Just really disappointing releases recently. And one designer, I was really shocked what they did. They went from their original, all of them did it. But anyway, if you're curious for that video, let me know, and I will shoot it and air it within the next week. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today. Let me know your thoughts on these 5 or 6 Chanel fragrances, and also let me know your thoughts on Liliane the Chanel. Are you curious or excited about that fragrance? Put some comments down so that I can find out. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. Please do like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.